What do you get when you mix wizard detectives, dragon riders, reluctant revolutionaries, and one very cranky skeleton? You get the 2000s, a fantasy decade as unpredictable as it was legendary. Let's dive in. Hey there, everyone. Jim here, your solo host today from Fantasy for the Ages. Welcome back to this epic series of best fantasy protagonists by year. If you've been with us since the 50s, wow, hats off to you. If you're just joining now, don't worry. We're leaping into the chaos, passion, and spell slinging action of the 2000s today, and it alone will be fantastic. I do hope you thoroughly enjoy today's episode. If you do, give us a like. And if you haven't subscribed yet, we sure hope you will. Zach and I have all sorts of content on here, and we hope you will enjoy. Speaking of my son, Zach, he hasn't disappeared. He's just busy as usual. We're recording a couple new episodes very soon, so as soon as this series is over, you'll see my son again. And we're almost there. As always, as we dive into the 2000s, I want to remind you these are my picks and they're highly subjective. I mean, it's my show, so I get to decide what rocks and what slightly less rocks. Each year, I'll share my pick for Best Fantasy Protagonist, and then I'll highlight a worthy runner up who gave them a magical run for their money, but just didn't quite edge out the best. So, are you ready? Yeah, let's storm into the decade. The 2000s, and very appropriately for 2000, the best protagonist of the year is Harry Dresden from Stormfront by Jim Butcher, book one of the Dresden Files. A down-on-his-luck wizard in modern Chicago solving crimes while dodging demons and mobsters. Yes, please. Dresden kicks off urban fantasy's renaissance with sass, fireballs, and just enough heart to make you cry between the firefights. Runner-up for the year is Artemis Entreri from Servant of the Shard by R.A. Salvatore. He's cold, he's calculated, and he's stepping out from Drizzt shadow with deadly grace. Entreri proves that villains make delicious protagonists when given a sharp blade and moral murk to wade through. For 2001, our best protagonist of the year is Shadow Moon from American Gods by Neil Gaiman. Shadow is all quiet strength and stormy soul, walking into a divine tug of war and emerging as the everyman hero we didn't know we needed. He's enigmatic, grounded, and somehow feels like all of us, if we were besties with a grifter god. Runner-up for the year is Elbrian Wyndon from Mortalis by R.A. Salvatore. Though technically dead, O'Brien's presence still echoes louder than most living heroes. He's the ghost of nobility past, haunting hearts with sacrifice, wisdom, and ranger cool. 2002 brings us in the best slot, Aragon, from the novel Aragon by Christopher Paolini. Dragon? Yes. Destiny? Also yes. Teenage awkwardness while leading rebellions? 100% yes. Aragon soared into the genre's stratosphere on dragon wings and teenage angst, and fans have been hanging on ever since. Runner-up of the year goes to Devlin's Stonehand, from Devlin's Luck by Patricia Bray. Devlin is the reluctant hero with PTSD, a cursed sword, and more moral backbone than most kings. He's the guy that doesn't want the spotlight, but ends up earning it through sheer grit and heart. Okay, again, it's my show, so I can squeeze one more in. I've got a second runner-up this time, just because I really love the character and the series, and that's Palin Majir from Dragons of a Vanished Moon by Weiss and Hickman. Palin's back, baby, and he's carrying the legacy of Kryn on his weary shoulders. Mage, rebel, and deeply tragic figure, he rounds out the year's cast with magic, sorrow, and Dragonlance swagger. For 2003, our number one protagonist goes to a character who's very deserving, in my opinion, Hermione Granger. This time coming from Order of the Phoenix by J.K. Rowling. While Harry gets the prophecy, Hermione does the homework, the organizing, and the actual magical thinking. She's the spine of Dumbledore's army, the soul of the story. And let's be real, without her, everyone's dead by chapter 5. Runner up for 2003 is Lyriel, from Abhorsen by Garth Nix. Lyriel trades imposter syndrome for necromantic badassery, becoming the quiet hero who doesn't need a spotlight to shine. Claire-born, dog-accompanied, and death-defying. She's a literary glow-up done right. Moving to 2004, the best protagonist of the year, in my opinion, is Roland Deschain, featured in Wolves of the Kala, a book of the Dark Tower by Stephen King. Ka is a wheel, and Roland is a tireless driver. He's still the tower-chasing, gun-toting prophet of doom and redemption, and this time he's saving villages while leading the weirdest babysitting gig in fantasy. Runner-up for 2004 is Ista Daggett, from Paladin of Souls by Lois McMaster Bujold. Ista doesn't fight dragons. She outsmarts demons with sarcasm and survival instincts honed through trauma. Fantasy in her middle age? More of this, please. For 2005, we have a new boy on the block. Best protagonist of the year is Prince Raoden from Elantris by Brandon Sanderson. Raoden starts as a political casualty and ends up as a revolutionary philosopher. Trapped in a city of walking corpses, he responds with optimism and city planning. Who knew zoning laws could be heroic? Runner-up of the year goes to Egwene Elvire from Knife of Dreams by Robert Jordan. Yes, another Wheel of Time reference in this series. Egwene takes resistance to a whole new level, dismantling the White Tower's hierarchy one steely stare at a time. She turns tea-sipping politics into a weapon of mass inspiration. There were some who said the 90s must not be very good because I had 3 protagonists from the Wheel of Time featured in there. No, it's just the Wheel of Time is that good, and that's why yet another shows up in the 2000s. For 2006, my best protagonist of the year is Vin, from Mistborn: The Final Empire. That's right, Brandon Sanderson takes the best protagonist 2 years in a row. Vin is part street rat, part savior, all Alamancer. Vin flips the Chosen One trope on its ash-covered head and builds a legend from trust, trauma, and airborne acrobatics. Runner-up of this year is Kendra Sorensen from Fablehaven by Brandon Mull. Kendra is a quiet storm, kind, cautious, but when danger calls, she steps up with fairy grace and a steel spine. A new YA heroine for a new era. Moving on to 2007, the best protagonist of the year goes to Kvoth from The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. How could it be anyone else for 2007? Kvoth plays the lute, slays the beast, charms the crowd, and narrates his life like epic poetry. Legend says he's done it all. And even if he's embellishing, we're all here for that tale. Second place for 2007, the runner-up is Skullduggery Pleasant. From Skullduggery Pleasant by Derek Landy, first book in a series. And I know one of our longtime Discord supporters, Marguerite, is gonna love this pick. A skeleton with swagger, trench coat, and puns sharper than his cheekbones. He's the undead detective we never knew we needed, and if you've never heard of him, you got some exploring to do. For 2008, our best protagonist of the year goes to Kyler Stern from The Way of Shadows by Brent Weeks, but the whole trilogy that kicks off the Night Angel series came out in 2008 and 2009. Kylar's story is bloody, brutal, and full of moral knots, but he fights for love in a world that barely remembers it. Assassin, technically wet boy. Yeah, he totally is. Redeemer? Maybe. Hero? Absolutely. Runner up for the year goes to Katsa from Graceling by Kristen Cashore. Katsa's journey from royal thug to free thinking warrior queen kicks tropes in the teeth. Her strength is raw, but it's her growth that made her a fan favorite. We wrap up the 2000s with 2009's best protagonist being Katniss Everdeen from Catching Fire by Suzanne Collins. This is, of course, the Hunger Games trilogy. She didn't ask to be the face of a revolution, but try telling that to a flaming mockingjay. Katniss walks the tightrope between survival and sacrifice like few YA protagonists ever have. For 2009's runner up, I've got a great protagonist to share, Sabina Kane from Redheaded Stepchild by Jay Wells, the first of a series. Half vampire, full sass, Sabina slices her way through betrayal and bureaucracy with style, forging a place in the crowded world of urban fantasy with fangs bared and shades on. There you go. I started the decade with urban fantasy's renaissance, and I ended it with where we're going next. Great stuff, and another series probably you need to check out. But that's it. That's the 2000s. Urban fantasy got loud, YA took over the world, and epic heroes kept swinging swords and slinging spells. Who were your favorite protagonists from this decade? Are they amongst the ones I mentioned, or did I totally miss them? Drop your thoughts, praises, or roasts in the comments below. While you're there, look in the show notes for all the other ways you can interact with Zach and I, including our Patreon page, where you could possibly join the others who support us every month and keep this content coming out. Regardless, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon if you want more bookish deep dives with flair. This has been Fantasy for the Ages, and keep on the lookout for when we charge into the 2010s. We'll talk to you next time.